The Kansas City Chiefs have endured a discernible offensive decline in recent seasons, yet this downturn cannot be attributed to any erosion of Patrick Mahomes' extraordinary quarterback prowess. Instead, the true catalyst behind this regression lies within the unyielding grip of the NFL's salary cap, which forced the franchise into one of the most agonizing decisions in its storied history: the trade of their most electrifying offensive weapon, Tyreek Hill. The circumstances surrounding Hill's departure were both intricate and multifaceted. The Chiefs, like many championship-caliber organizations, found themselves cornered by the financial realities of a roster stacked with star talent. As their elite playmakers reached peak market value, the franchise was confronted with the harsh dilemma of balancing long-term competitiveness with salary cap restrictions. Ultimately, the front office made a calculated yet seismic move that would reshape the very identity of their offense. On March the 23rd, 2022, the NFL was rocked when the Chiefs shipped Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for a treasure chest of draft capital, 5 total selections, including a first-rounder, a second-rounder, 2 fourth-rounders spanning 2022 to 2023, and a 6th-rounder in 2023. More than just a personnel adjustment, this trade symbolized a philosophical shift in Kansas City's offensive blueprint. The Dolphins, wasting no time, secured Hill's services with a staggering 4-year, $120 million extension, catapulting him into the ranks of the NFL's highest-paid receivers. This monumental investment underscored Miami's conviction that Hill could revolutionize their offense and serve as a franchise cornerstone, now more than 3 years removed from that landmark deal. The landscape has evolved. Hill continues to dazzle in Miami with his game-breaking speed and unparalleled playmaking, yet murmurs of discontent suggest that his stay in South Beach could end sooner than expected. Reports of strained chemistry, organizational friction, and Hill's growing frustrations with the Dolphins' direction hint at a storm brewing beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Kansas City's struggles without their deep threat dynamo have become impossible to ignore. Hill's absence stripped the Chiefs of their ability to stretch defenses vertically, depriving them of the explosive plays that once defined their identity. Mahomes, as brilliant and adaptable as ever, has been forced to recalibrate his style, yet even his brilliance cannot fully replicate the telepathic synergy he once shared with Hill, a connection built on timing, instinct, and sheer speed. The Chiefs' Super Bowl clash with the Philadelphia Eagles laid bare these vulnerabilities. Philadelphia's defense suffocated Kansas City's attack, blitzing Mahomes and daring the Chiefs' receivers to beat them deep, a challenge the current roster could not meet. With no legitimate vertical threat, the Eagles crowded the short and intermediate routes, dismantling the rhythm of Kansas City's passing game. Their strategy was devastatingly effective, amplifying the absence of Hill and exposing the offense's reliance on him in years past. To compound matters, protection issues along the offensive line further shackled Mahomes, denying him the time and space to compensate for the lack of explosiveness on the perimeter. The result was a painful reminder that even the league's most gifted quarterback can be neutralized when stripped of weapons capable of bending defenses beyond their limits. Even a quarterback of Patrick Mahomes' unparalleled caliber struggled to overcome the perfect storm of inadequate protection and the absence of a legitimate vertical weapon. Although Kansas City has made efforts to shore up its offensive line through both the draft and free agency, the core deficiency remains glaring. A true deep threat has yet to be restored to their arsenal. This void has become increasingly exploitable as defensive coordinators across the league continue to tailor their schemes around the Chiefs' lack of vertical explosiveness. Meanwhile, in Miami, Tyreek Hill's situation has grown increasingly volatile and unpredictable. While his on-field brilliance remains undeniable, his relationship with the Dolphins organization has been punctuated by both dazzling highs and disruptive lows. The most jarring moment arrived after a crushing Week 18 defeat to the New York Jets, when Hill shocked the football world by publicly requesting a trade. This declaration sent tremors through the Dolphins front office and raised immediate questions about his long-term loyalty to the franchise. At the heart of Hill's frustration lies his concern over the team's quarterback stability. Miami's reliance on Tua Tagovailoa, whose career has been plagued by multiple concussions and constant questions about his long-term viability, has amplified Hill's unease. His dissatisfaction spilled into both media interviews and social media posts, leaving little doubt about the depth of his concerns. Though Hill later attempted to walk back his remarks, apologizing publicly and asking for forgiveness from his teammates and the organization, the damage to his credibility and trust within the building had already been inflicted. The tension has been particularly pronounced between Hill and head coach Mike McDaniel. Known as an offensive innovator, McDaniel now finds himself repeatedly forced to answer questions about Hill's commitment, which has created an awkward dynamic and cast a shadow over the locker room. Even Tagovailoa himself admitted the relationship with Hill was a work in progress, highlighting the effort still needed for Hill to regain the confidence of his teammates. Such public acknowledgments have only fueled speculation that Hill's tenure in South Beach is racing toward its conclusion. Given this backdrop, a potential separation feels increasingly likely. The Dolphins may look to part ways before the trade deadline, and from Kansas City's vantage point, a reunion with Hill could be nothing short of transformational. The Chiefs' attempts to replace Hill have been a patchwork of stopgaps and missed opportunities. Veteran free agent signings, like Marquise Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, have provided flashes of reliability, but neither has replicated Hill's unmatched blend of blazing speed, surgical route running, and home run ability. The 2023 draft brought hope with the selection of Rashee Rice, whose early production, 24 receptions, 288 yards, and 2 touchdowns, hinted at promise before a devastating knee injury sidelined him for the season. His absence only magnified the Chiefs' fragility at wide receiver. Compounding the problem is the natural decline of Travis Kelce. While still highly effective, Kelce is no longer the all-dominant force he once was, and Kansas City cannot afford to rely solely on him to shoulder the passing attack. This leaves the Chiefs in urgent need of another elite playmaker, precisely the role Hill once filled with unrivaled impact. A mid-season trade for Hill would provide multiple benefits. Miami could absorb a portion of his salary for the early season, allowing Kansas City to unleash him for the critical second half and a playoff push. It would also give the Chiefs insurance against any lingering issues with Rice's recovery or potential disciplinary setbacks. Most importantly, it would instantly resurrect one of the most lethal quarterback-receiver duos the NFL has ever seen. The Mahomes-Hill connection was more than statistical dominance. It was artistry. Their chemistry thrived on anticipation, trust, and a shared instinct that shredded defenses. Hill's ability to adapt to Mahomes' improvisation made them nearly unstoppable, an element Kansas City has sorely missed. Beyond X's and O's, such a reunion would send a thunderous message to the rest of the league. The Chiefs are all in on reclaiming their throne. Bringing Hill back to Arrowhead would not just fix a schematic weakness, it would restore the magic, the fear factor, and the swagger that defined Kansas City's offensive juggernaut. For Chiefs Kingdom, the mere thought of seeing number 10 back in red and gold streaking past defenders and igniting Arrowhead with his trademark speed, is enough to stir goosebumps. Pair him again with the game's greatest quarterback, and Kansas City wouldn't just be dangerous, they'd be terrifying. What do you think, Chiefs fans? Boston's biggest shock. Travis Hunter heads to the Chiefs. An earth-shaking update just dropped in the NFL world. Travis Hunter is expected to suit up for the Kansas City Chiefs, a move that has sent shockwaves through the league. This is next-level news, folks. Hunter, a rare two-way phenom from Colorado, won the Heisman Trophy just last year. The Jaguars famously drafted him second overall in April and signed him to a historic 4-year, $46.65 million fully guaranteed deal, complete with a jaw-dropping $30.6 million signing bonus. So what changed? Nothing official has been disclosed yet by the Chiefs. They haven't identified who they might trade or release in his place, which makes this even more dramatic. Picture the Chiefs shaking up their roster, but remaining tight-lipped on the biggest burning question. Who's sacrificing their spot for Hunter? Adding fuel to the hype is none other than Travis Kelce, who recently speculated that opposing offenses might relentlessly target Hunter if he's playing defense, hitting him with deep routes until he physically wears down, jaw-dropping. What Patrick Mahomes just revealed about the Chiefs' Super Bowl defeat will leave you stunned. This revelation flips everything we thought we knew on its head. Chiefs Kingdom. Brace yourselves. Before we unravel this seismic revelation that's about to send shockwaves across the entire NFL landscape, make sure you're subscribed and that notification bell is on. You're not going to want to miss what's coming next. Drop a W in the comments if your faith in our Chiefs still burns bright, or an L if that February heartbreak shook your belief. And trust me, stay with me until the very end of this video, because what Mahomes just disclosed could completely transform your expectations for the season ahead. After years of dominance, glory, and magical postseason runs, the Kansas City Chiefs fan base has been tossed into an emotional whirlwind, unlike anything in recent memory. We've watched our squad mesmerize the league, rewrite record books, and hoist trophies. But what happened in that Super Bowl shattered more than just a dream. It fractured the aura of invincibility that had surrounded Chiefs Kingdom. But now, Patrick Mahomes has broken his silence. And what he's sharing about that loss and what it means going forward might just change everything. Let's rewind to that heart-wrenching night in February. A stage set for immortality. The Chiefs stood on the cusp of achieving what no team in the modern NFL era had done. A historic three-peat. But that dream unraveled under the bright lights as millions watched the Eagles dismantle what we believed was an untouchable dynasty. A Negaven Keto blowout. 2 uncharacteristic Mahomes interceptions. 1 returned for 6. The silence in Chiefs Kingdom was deafening. Arrowhead had been electric all season. A 15-1 regular season run. Starters rested in Week 18. A playoff gauntlet stormed through with dominance. All signs pointed toward another coronation. But Super Bowl Sunday was a nightmare. Not just a loss, a collapse. The Eagles didn't just win, they imposed their will. Chiefs fans across the globe stared in disbelief, frozen by a performance that felt more like a horror film than a championship bout. In the days that followed, defensive end Charles Omenihu tried to spark hope. He spoke of Mahomes going on a revenge tour, a rallying cry that resonated. We clung to it. We needed it. In the darkest hours, belief is oxygen. But now, Mahomes has delivered a message that veers in a very different and far more profound direction. During a recent appearance on FanDuel TV's Up and Adams, Mahomes offered a calm, introspective reflection. one that cuts deeper than any dramatic promise of revenge. Rather than feeding the fire of vengeance, he revealed a mindset forged in discipline, wisdom, and resolve. "I'm honestly just ready to play football again," Mahomes said. At first glance, it's a simple statement, but let it sink in. That's not the voice of bitterness. That's not empty fire. That's clarity. That's evolution. Mahomes isn't chasing ghosts or headlines. He's chasing excellence. His calm isn't weakness, it's lethal focus. The kind of mindset that wins in January, not just on talk shows. "Whenever you lose," he continued, "you have that taste in your mouth. You want to go out there and avenge that, or whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, I've had to sit back and listen to people talk and talk. And now, I just want to play football and let the results speak. I don't want to talk. I want to show who we are as the Kansas City Chiefs." Let that land. This isn't about sound bites. This is about strategy. Mahomes isn't driven by noise. He's fueled by execution. Thank you guys. See you next video.